Kitty! Oh,
Dancing cat, dancing cat.
All right, welcome to the Zenspath Entertainment Network Podcast, episode 117. I'm your host, Jeremy Powers. Joining me this week as we wade into the internet and how it reacts to things, Rachel.
Hi. It's me from
It's her.
Central Florida.
Yeah.
It's warmer down here now.
It has gotten really warm this week.
It got up to 80.
I had two students today complaining. They're like, it's so cold. And they borrowed my hoodies at a band event. And I'm like, it's freaking hot outside. What is wrong with you kids?
What degrees was it today?
I don't do temperatures. Cold to me is like 30 or below.
Okay, well...
That's not even really cold. That's just like I'm admitting it's cold.
Listen. If it
That's
was
shorts
like
weather over here.
If it was
I'm
in
still
the
in shorts.
60s up in the Panhandle, to them that is cold. I would know because I was that person once.
Well,
I still am. I'm worse now.
Well, looking at us thinking, 60 or below is cold for some weird ass reason and thinking we're crazy, Steven.
I hate that thing you like.
Oh. Well, I'm going to get emotionally attached to that and yell at you.
How dare you?
And Chris.
I hate all the things Steven likes.
Anything
wow.
anything
We're
that you
Twitter.
like, I will hate even more.
Oh, man. So to start us off, just to let everybody know, I don't know when I'm going to release it yet, but we recorded an extra quarter episode last night with Caleb and I. We ended up remastering an old extra quarter about Metroid Prime Remastered, ironically enough. So that is done, edited, and ready to go. I just need
the remaster of the remaster.
Yeah, that was kind of the meta joke with it. Like,
so
I
it's primed and ready to go.
Oh, damn!
I approve.
That was a good one.
That was good. That was
Wow.
very good.
That was smooth, Steven. Like, damn.
I'm sliding into his DMs. I'm like, okay.
Well, because I'm trying to remember who suggested this, but because Caleb and I absolutely love the Metroid series, someone suggested we should drop it on Valentine's Day.
I'm pretty sure whoever suggested the episode was the dad guy.
He suggested the episode, yes.
Yes.
But the release date, someone had suggested Valentine's Day because the two of us love the series so much. It'd be kind of a funny little thing.
Love is in the air.
Right.
Aww.
Yeah. We'll just love us some Metroid. Because we missed the 1 year anniversary of the actual release of that game by 1 day. It was the 8th. We recorded on the 9th. And today's the 10th. So
if it makes you feel any better or worse, today's the anniversary for Final Fantasy VIII.
Most people are going to ignore that and go back to 7 somehow.
A moment of silence for 8.
I actually traded Steve my copy of that game for a Weird Al Yankovic concert ticket, and it was the best concert I had ever been to.
Well,
for Weird Al, that is not a bad trade. I would
That's not a
offer a
bad
lot
trade.
for Weird Al.
I got stiffed.
and at least he probably has the game back now.
I'd rather play Mystic Quest than 8.
So I'm going to have to clip this and send it to Weird Al. So say what you want during this minute because it'll go to him, Chris.
Adopt me!
I hope he appreciates it.
I think he would. So Weird Al was the better side of a Final Fantasy VIII trade deal. Great.
Yeah.
So now that we're talking about our weird musical histories, let's jump really quick because we're going to try and keep this to about an hour and a half, jumping into what we've been up to. And Chris, let's start with you. What you been up to, man?
I've been trying out a bunch of Steam Next Fest demos, some pretty fun stuff. A lot of them obviously are still in beta.
Mhm.
Ultros was the very weird kind of tie-dye, hyper psychedelic space one. Very strange, but a very fun Metroidvania. What was
my favorite words?
Yeah, they're about most of what I played were Metroidvanias. There are a couple that I didn't get to, but most of what I played was fun. So I'm really looking forward to the stuff that's coming out. Check out Steam Next Fest. There are a lot of demos, so there will probably be something you guys would like.
I need to check that out. I have an extra $10 on my account right now, just burning a hole in my pocket. So
I think it ends this weekend, and then next weekend's the Buddy Co-op extravaganza.
Ooh, maybe I'll wait. That's a good one.
Check out what's there now.
Buddy co-op, bop.
That's true.
There you go, the bop.
The bop.
I've also been playing more Persona 3 Reload. It really is the best version. There's a lot of quality of life improvements. The music's great. The voice acting is phenomenal. They brought back not only old actors from the previous game, like the PS2 game, as new characters, but it's astounding. And aside from that, I did not buy Tekken 8, but the more I see of Tekken 8's character customization, I want to buy Tekken 8. Not even to fight, just to make character customizations. They made Dante.
Somebody made an actually really good Optimus Prime.
See?
I was
and I've seen Zero Suit Samus, and I've seen the man with the yellow hat from Curious George. It's insane.
Yeah, they made freaking Android 16 out of Jack 8. All kinds of crazy stuff.
Oh, that's perfect, actually.
Oh my god, the man with the yellow hat from Curious George. His dad.
Exactly. It's nuts.
Listen, the only person that you could make that would not have surprised me even more. I mean, the guy from Curious George shocked me and I love it, but now it just made me think of how someone needs to make Doug Dimmadome. So
I'm gonna look for that one later.
Doug Dimmadome. Oh wow.
Owner of the Dimsdale Dimmadome.
Oh yes.
You don't want to you want to don't mess with Doug Dimmadome.
That'd be great if they had a really good, like, they've already got a fantastic character creation. If they had a good like fighting area creation, like you could make the Dimmadome.
The Dimsdale Dimmadome.
Oh my god.
So yeah, that's been my thing.
Is Tekken 8 crossplay? I don't know on that one.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Really?
No,
Tekken
really
8 is not? Street Fighter 6 got that right. Okay. Oh, that kind of holds me off on getting it.
Even then, like, a lot of people don't like to crossplay because of the
Yeah, but we have friends. Or at least I like to consider all of us friends.
We got to remember that most of the players because the hub is more like a just lobbies, because there's an arcade quest mode and there's a story mode, and they just make it that they don't really want to match you with those other players because of the latency and the input lag. So everybody just plays on PC against each other for the most part.
I'm that weird fighting guy that I don't care to just play against random people. I only want to do fighting games online with people I know. It's just fun.
No, I'm fine with that too.
Yeah, it's just weird.
It's just that's why they did it the way they did.
All right. Well, Steven, what you been up to?
Well, I'm a firm believer in democracy and liberty, so I had to get Helldivers 2. I don't usually get a game the day of release, but this was only $40. Arrowhead Studios is that their A+ game. It is basically if you ran with Starship Troopers and made it really good, really funny. I was even making jokes as we leveled up. I would just say, like, welcome to level 5, where
it was great.
Democracy smells like cookies.
What is happening?
They say stuff like, what is it? They're like, you can always take a break, but just know that you'll be a coward. You'll be considered a coward.
What was my favorite one? Like, we were looking, hint, I'm going to be playing this too on here, but we were looking at like items you could get, and they had actual reviews underneath it, and there was one that was 1 star, and
and it said redacted, and it said person's being investigated for treason.
Oh no. Oh no.
And one of them was 5 stars, and he said, my name's redacted and this is my favorite item on the customization store. And I was just like, Shepard,
nice.
Is that you?
Yeah, nice Mass Effect reference.
But then one you'll see in the tutorial is they have an injury simulator, and you go up to it and press a button, it stabs you through the chest, and the guy just starts screaming, I'm bleeding! And it's just like, now you can use your stem pack, soldier. Okay. And he's just like, see, you're full of democracy now. It's coursing through your veins. You're invincible.
This game is fantastic.
Every time you heal yourself, you scream out like, this is for democracy. This is for Super Earth. It's just hilarious, and I love it. And it's just like the first one, if not better. And side note, it's beating out Pal World in terms of like how many people have gotten into playing it. It's PlayStation's #1 PC release right now. It's beat out God of War today. So yeah, it's doing good. I'm happy.
And I'm happy to
Um,
say that, like, even though people complained the first day, like, oh, it's so broken on PC, it's like, it's a multiplayer online game. It's always going to be broken on the first
It's
day.
always going to be broken.
You've just blocked it out in your brain, and people start suggesting, well, you should play this one, forgetting that it was almost as bad, if not worse, when it started before it got fixed. Like, and they've already fixed it pretty much a day
yeah, and the
later.
game looks fantastic. It runs great and makes Skull and Bones look like a mobile game. So it's like, this is fantastic.
Everything makes Skull and
Other than
Bones like a
that,
mobile game.
That is
other than that,
so bad.
Chris offered to play another game of Persona 3 Reload, so I could beat it by osmosis.
Nice.
So he's been
That
playing.
one doesn't count. You're
And
making me
of
play
course
on
it
easy
counts.
mode.
Cares it counts. Shh. Anyway,
I sneeze and everyone dies, including the
awesome.
boss.
Well, that's just
So-
COVID.
There's nothing wrong with playing on easy mode.
What's
Okay.
funny is I'm putting a different perspective for him while he plays it down here, because I would be commenting on stuff like, why aren't there grounded outlets in their dormitories? Why is it you have to go to the kitchen and one appliance has a grounded outlet and nobody else does? And he was like, you know what, you're right. And you could hear the songs playing in the background, and one of them, I swear, just sounds like Triple Brown now, Triple Brown now,
They're
Triple
saying
Brown
look
now.
around or jump around, something like that.
But I'm like,
Triple
nope, it's
Brown
Triple
now.
Brown now.
Wow. That's fantastic.
But yeah, no, the game
Play
is
more
fantastic.
Helldivers, Jeremy, so I don't have to deal with this.
You offer every day, you quiet.
And then you
So-
play Helldivers.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
man.
Liberty.
Yep.
Injustice.
It's been a fun one. Rachel, what about you? What have you been up to?
Well, I've also been playing a little bit of Persona 3 Reload. I
I'm the
haven't-
only one not playing it, neither reality or osmosis.
I haven't gotten too far into it though, because I get distracted. I'll just stand there in a room and listen to the music. Because the music's just that good.
Triple Brown.
It is.
Like literally
If you want to dance, go ahead. I'll be lying in my bed. Mind your biz. Go to your biz.
like it's just a
Wow.
vibe. The music's a vibe. I also installed Grand Blue. I
Ooh.
have it right here. But I have not played it because I have been too busy playing Persona and reading. And speaking of reading, I had a very successful trip to 2 used bookstores today.
Ooh, those are always fun.
Yes. I brought in a few books. I brought in a lot of movies actually, because we have a bunch of duplicate movies left over from, combining households and
Mhm.
items being bequeathed to us when a family member had passed away and all this kind of stuff. And we're just it's good because they'll take both movies and books, and when you trade in books you get store credit that you could get more books, and then when you trade in movies you get credit where you can get more movies.
It's a vicious cycle.
It's so there you go. And I got some real good books, including one book in a series that I'm trying to repurchase because I lost them. I don't know where they died. They maybe got put in a box they weren't supposed to be in and they got donated somewhere, who knows. And that's what we did today, me and my mom. So that was fun. And everything else that I have been doing, we will talk about as part of the main show. So yay!
Yes. I know you're excited about that.
I am. I have a lot of thoughts and some unhinged commentary that I have in my notes that I think most of you will find amusing. And this is stuff I wrote down as I was watching the State of Play as it happened. Jeremy was there for some of it.
It was great.
It was pretty funny.
Are we going to hear what the S?
No, actually.
Oh.
No,
ass, guys.
Yeah. There was none of that. It was more me laughing at silly stuff. Well, Jeremy was there, but you'll get to hear it soon. Just be patient.
It was terrifying. So
It was funny. You shut up.
it was. I was glad to see you that excited. I love anybody being excited about something they love. I think it's great. So for me, speaking of being excited for something, I got in a DVD set finally that I ordered and was starting to share this with Jennifer, and that is the Real Ghostbusters series on DVD. And
Nice.
two things. She's still trying to figure out if she likes it. She kind of goes back and forth on some of this stuff, and this is the 80s. And also, wow, I forgot how this show was that long ago. It is good at times, rough at others. I'm still glad to have it. But
It's
woo.
Jeremy. It's from the 80s.
I know that. It's very much from the 80s.
The thing about cartoons from the 80s is we always remember the theme songs and how beautiful the intros are. Once you start watching the actual show,
So this made me think of a theory, and I always wondered if you remember the beginning of the Real Ghostbusters, the ghost that's walking is like moving his hips to go around things. I was like, son of a bitch, he has ADHD. He walks just like I do.
Oh boy.
That's actually, if people with ADHD, they tend to just kind of dive around things when they walk. You'll see them just kind of go around corners weird or just move their hip to go around something. That's actually part of it for things. And I was like, holy crap, I noticed that now.
So they thought I had ADHD, but I don't have ADHD, but I
I
do that. I do that.
Well, it's one of those things like, yes, people can still do some of this stuff, but it is part of a lot of it. Steven, go ahead.
I was going to say, if you watch the whole thing, you're going to see where the quality takes like a chunk.
Oh, yeah, when they change.
Because poor Lorenzo music is suddenly replaced by Dave Coulier.
I remember that.
Oh,
I'm
Dave
like Bankman, what have you done?
Well, there's a lot of old animated shows that you'll notice, like when they switch animation houses, where it's like, oh, these seasons are great. What happened? Like X-Men was one of those. You're like, oh, this is fantastic. Last season, you're just like,
don't bring that up.
Just a real quick sidebar. I learned that my favorite, one of my favorite voice actors, Bill Farmer, who voiced Sam and Sam and Max.
Okay.
Actually couldn't do the cartoon because he was in Canada and it was non-union. Otherwise, he was 1,000% wanting to do it, but the union's like, sorry, it's in Canada, it's non-union. I was like, no, that would have been amazing.
That sucks. So we'll have more update on that to see how it goes. I did get my 4Ks of Ghostbusters 1 and 2 though, so I'll be enjoying those again. So that's great. Amanda and I finished The Witcher season 3. Thought it was really, really well done. We ended up staying up and watching a good chunk of it over the night, and yeah, that's we'll see where they go from the rest of it. I really like the show. Huh?
Next season you get Witcher at home.
Right. We get discount Thor. Yeah. That's
scanned in Thor.
Right. It's like I think they're gonna move the camera back and it's like the low poly version that pops in. That's what we're gonna get. If we're going to stick to gaming stuff. And then lastly, I did go ahead and pick up on PC Helldivers 2. And I don't think I've laughed that much playing a game and getting brutally murdered over and over again.
Sometimes just get murdered, Chris.
Yeah. Sometimes by Steven or by your friend Chase. Great guy, by the way. I enjoyed talking to him. Look forward to doing that again. Guy was really cool. But some of the deaths I wish I'd recorded, like, because at all times you guys warned me immediately, friendly fire is on. It's just gonna happen. And yeah, I killed myself a few times because I put a turret down and it decided there's a bug over there. And it turned and ignored the fact I was also there and shot me through the back. But Chase threw a grenade at this big, like, acid spewing bug, and it hit the puffy part of the back. And I watched in just silent horror as it bounced off of its ass and went flying right back at my face and blew me up.
You got ass blasted. That's awesome.
And it does track how many people you killed with friendly fire at the end. So we're laughing like how much damage, like, oops, I shot you, sorry, or just straight up murdered. But yeah, wholeheartedly, 2 thumbs up. I will recommend people get Helldivers 2 to play with friends. Crossplay works really well. I was happy about that. And yeah, no, I can't wait to play that again. Probably play it tonight if we get a chance.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're saved a little bit more time, Chris, from your Persona playing on easy. I will babysit Steven.
I'll play it on normal, like a real person.
Oh, the difficulty he's playing on is not called easy either. Easy's on there, but then there's another one.
Merciful.
Merciful.
No, there's merciless. You're on peaceful. Enjoy the story, relax, calm,
Oh Lord!
and
All
then
right,
shoot yourself in the head. Okay.
Jesus. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into the news. All right, so the first thing we're going to be talking about, or actually we're going to sit back and let Rachel talk about, was there was a Final Fantasy VII Rebirth State of Play. And for those that are about to blank out for this, however long it takes, just make sure Rachel pretty much thought
Is good.
So Rachel, we'll let the real you take over and go from there.
It is good. Like it dropped you right in, of course, to a little recap thing, and then it showed a trailer, and of course it played the absolute bop that is the song that I was hoping that they would also announce that they were like, we're going to release this as a single right now on Spotify. They did not do that.
It'll be an NFT later.
Much to my disappointment, because I was like, I would like to learn this song so I can just sing it all the time.
Okay.
But it was really good. I'm going to go through my reactions in order to the trailer that I wrote down.
I got to watch this in real time. This was great.
Yes, which was my reactions to all of the Turks were Turks, baby, my boy Reno song, all of that. And then almost immediately at the beginning of the trailer was, oh no, the temple. I'm pretty sure, Jeremy, this got a laugh out of you when I went, oh, it's my hot soldier on a motorbike. That's Roche. Then there was
I was just sitting there in disbelief going, okay, this is happening. All right.
Yep. And then they have different outfits in the beach. I'm going to call it the beach episode. Cuz it's not an episode, it's just a sequence where they're in a coastal town, and there's Barrett dressed as a sailor. I don't remember any of that from
And when you
the
say
original
Barrett
game.
dressed as a sailor, it's like the old school white and blue puffy top hat sailor.
Donald Duck type sailor, but with
like,
pants.
You would expect a child dressed like that in the 1920s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then I couldn't remember anything about the black materia while watching the trailer. I don't remember that from the original game, but my childhood best friend Cassie quickly corrected me on that when she talked to me about it after, because she watched the State of Play 2, and she called me and was like, we need to info dump. And I was like, bet, okay, let's go. And so my other commentary was, why is Vincent commentating on that he has a history with Sephiroth? Because he did not make such a statement in the original, like, at all. So I'm like, what does he know? What does he know? Is he aware of some things now? Like, what's going on here? What's going to play into this? Because they're combining all the stuff. They're pulling things from Advent Children, from Dirge of Cerberus. They're doing all the things. If you played Intergrade, you'll understand why I said Dirge of Cerberus. Or if you played Dirge of Cerberus and Intergrade, you'll understand both of those statements. Or maybe you won't. I don't know.
Now, one thing, I don't know if you heard, they did come out and say Vincent and Sid will not be playable.
That's okay.
In this game.
That's fine. They can be playable in the next game.
Yeah, I'm just saying, because I did specifically see they announced that like they'll be in cutscenes and part of the story, but they will not be in your party or playable.
Yep.
So,
I mean, they'll be around. I think they're part. Yeah. So, but like they're not going to be not until the next one, because I don't think technically you got Vincent like as a party member until either the end of disc 2 or disc 3. Like, if I remember correctly from the game itself.
Timelines change now, right?
Yes, there's since we have broken out of destiny and fate, the world is our oyster, and I don't know how things are going to happen.
Because I read an article trying to explain this, and they said for people looking at it, think of this whole thing as a sequel, not a remake.
It is So there's the going theory at this time is like this is an alternate like timeline thing.
Yeah.
The Sephiroth that we saw in
Mhm.
Rebirth was the OG Sephiroth from the original like anthology of Final
Right.
Fantasy VII. We're talking Advent Children, Dirge of Cerberus when he's mentioned, all of that, all that whole sequence from the original. That's the OG Sephiroth that has come in, and he's essentially trying to change all of their fates. And that's why things are happening the way they are. That is the
Yeah.
going theory.
Because like I said, the way it was explained was Final Fantasy VII happened,
Mhm.
and then this is something that happened afterwards. So it's kind of leading from that, trying to change it. And I guess the closest description, which this is makes sense to me, no one else will probably get it, is the Dark Tower from Stephen King.
Yes, no,
the
that
book
makes
series
sense.
happened, but the movie is not a telling of that. It's basically a sequel to it. It's another turn in the tower, and that's why the actor looked different. Things were a little bit different because it was another loop around the tower or on the wheel of the wheel.
It's an alternate
Yeah.
reality. It's a
Which
different
once that clicked, I was like, oh, now I get it.
Yeah. So
Finally.
I've thought that since the beginning.
Yeah, well, I was slow.
Yeah. But like this is one of those things. The funniest things in the trailer, other than, you know, my commentary, was and this is in literally this is in the demo, by the way, and I'll give some of my thoughts on the demo. Which is and Jeremy, you laughed at this, I think, is why is Sephiroth hugging Cloud like that? Personal space buddy. Like,
yeah, you were very curious on that one.
So, Steven, I think I remember you
Yeah,
talking
exactly,
about
Chris.
the trailer, one of the particular trailers that came out
Remember
where it
the
looked like
picture
a
where he's yeah.
L'Oreal commercial. It was that level, except it was more sultry, and his like whole mouth was against Cloud's ear, and I was like, "Oh, okay."
I'm telling you, like if they weren't shipped before, they're shipped now
They're
harder
shipped
than
now
ever before.
harder
Many
than
fan
ever
fictions
before.
began
We're
this
reaching
week.
some Batman Joker stuff here now.
Like even worse.
So what would their name be? It would be Cephacloud?
Cloud for Roth, I've seen it before.
It's
Cloud
Cloud Roth. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's the ship name. Also, I don't remember Cisne being in the original Final Fantasy VII at all. But she's in this one, and the only people who will know who Cisne is are the people that played Crisis Core and the Crisis Core remake thing that they did.
Okay.
So that's cool that she's in there, and she's in Gungaga. So I'm like, yeah, she's in Gungaga. Yeah.
I don't know what. I think she's saying words.
It's a town.
Fair
It's
enough.
the town that Zach is from.
It's the town that Zach's from.
Okay.
She's
not
there
remember that name.
because she's there because of Zach. So that's cool.
Fair enough.
But what really got me is there's this one sequence in the trailer where Zach is walking up the steps of the church and Sephiroth is at the door and he's asking Sephiroth to wait. And Sephiroth whirls around very insulted and goes, "No, not you." And then turns back around. And I'm like, I don't have any context for this, but
Sephiroth.
Literally, no, this is not. And it was definitely proven to me. And I knew that this is kind of what we were going to get in this game because people who played Crisis Core saw this side of Sephiroth. It's not Sephiroth, it's Sasfaroth. He's a sassy man.
Oh, so
That's
she got
who
on
he
the
is.
first try. I butchered it.
He's a sassy dude. And we really saw it in the demo. So the demo was great. It basically really gave you a good introduction of what the combat was going to be like. Some of the controls were a little wonky, but I really think that was because you were playing a demo that is very controlled. They don't want you wandering off and looking at other stuff during this, but they say, oh, if you played this demo, you can skip this sequence in the game. I'm like, I don't think I want to, because I want to go and look at random things off the beaten path in this sequence, and you're not letting me in this, but you will let me probably in the sequence in the game where I can wander over this way and look at that cool box texture and stuff like that. And I know I missed stuff. I didn't go in Tifa's house because I didn't think I could at that particular part in the game. So I'm not going to skip the sequence. But the most interesting thing to me was you couldn't really, in this particular sequence in the original game, you couldn't tell this, but having seen this sequence exactly in the original game and in Crisis Core and now, the voice actor for Cloud is literally verbatim copying the lines done in Crisis Core with the same tonality and everything. He's speaking like Zack would because he is Zack in that scene. He's combined two memories because he doesn't really have his own memory of this. Yeah.
enough.
So there's a lot going on with that. That's why, they were trying to tell people, and why they released the Crisis Core thing when they did was because they wanted people to play it so you could get these little tiny nuances. Is it necessary? No. Is it more
fun?
Yes. But there was the combat system was really nice. It has not only like limit breaks and like combo like attacks and stuff like that, but it has these other like symbiotic like attack, like all kinds of cool little interplay between two different like characters while they're in battle. It's really pretty. You'll see a lot of discourse on the internet about yellow paint on climbable textures, but I just want to remind everybody that that's an accessibility feature because some people have really poor eyesight and can't tell what's a climbable surface unless they are painted textures. As silly as it might look, it's fine. Calm down. Yes, Stephen.
May I remind everybody that after 2 games where they did not do it, in Uncharted 3, they sprinkled sparkly piss over anything he could grab onto. That is not how you do it.
No.
You do not make what you can climb sparkly.
No.
So
It's
I have to
at
say,
least they added some texture to it on this one. It matches the texture of the wall. It's just yellow.
It takes you out of it in Uncharted 3. It's like, who pissed on the bridge? Oh, you can grab onto it. That's why.
Oh,
God. So I saw the argument from some people saying like, oh, well, back in the day, like Tomb Raider or other games, you could tell what you could climb and what you couldn't. It's like, all right, my brother in Christ, they had like 4 extra polygons to make that cliff. Everything else was just a flat texture. Do not act like that thing was fully fleshed out.
You know what that is? That's essentially the old Scooby-Doo cartoons where you could tell where a door that was supposed to open was painted on. That's what we're talking about here. That's disparity of technology.
Yeah. I'm just like, and it's good. There's another part 2 of the demo that's coming out, I guess, later this month before the actual game release, and it's
oh
the
my
Junon
God,
sequence.
really?
Yes. So it's going to be a kind of it's really just not it's really more of a battle demo. So it's nothing in it is going to give away any story stuff. It's just exploration and battle stuff. It's
they
completely
could tell
separate.
us they could tell us the story and I'd still be freaking confused probably.
Oh,
here's what's gonna happen.
Yes.
I don't know.
But it's like it was very I said,
Yes.
I'm still gonna play the sequence that was in the demo because I missed stuff. And also think about it from an item standpoint. You get items in this sequence. Do the items matter? Not necessarily.
Do you want them?
Who knows? They might be useful. There was a lot of mega potions and things. I will say the Mako vacuum things that were in this sequence just as bad as in their original game. So terrible, and I think they did that on purpose. They were just a slog to walk around and suck up the excess Mako in those sequences. But there were I will say the guy who plays Sephiroth, I felt his line delivery in this fell a little flat, but after realizing, oh, he's doing it on purpose, I felt a little better.
Okay.
Because he's supposed to sound really bored. He sounded bored and clipped with literally everybody he talked to except for Cloud. So, yes, Stephen.
As the probably of this group, the sole naysayer of 7, I did appreciate the fact that people are running with the piano you can play in the demo.
Yes,
that's great.
And I've seen everything played, and I showed Chris a few of these. One guy played the theme song to X-Men '97.
Amazing.
So that was amazing. And then somebody had to speed up their footage, but they played through Fire and Flames. So that was awesome.
Okay, I will not be happy until I see someone play Piano Man.
Okay.
Give it time.
I just want to see it.
Give it time. It'll happen.
I know it'll happen. I just want to see it.
But yeah, it was a very exciting state of play. It's really only exciting for people who like this game and this franchise, which, is me.
That's kind of the true of all of it. I mean, yeah.
It's my thing. It'll probably be my thing until the day I die. It was nice getting to talk to my friend Cassie, who I don't talk to very often, unless we have something to talk about. So it was nice kind of going back and forth with her about this. She doesn't have a PS5, so she's kind of living vicariously through me with this game.
Until May 29th.
Well, but say I was gonna.
She doesn't even have an Xbox
that.
One, so I don't think.
Well, I don't. They're never gonna get it.
Yeah.
So one last thing to add on to this, because it was really funny watching like Rachel's graph on the voice thing was the whole way, and there was like 3 lines as we all just sat and going, just let her get it out. Let's just let her
get it out.
let her do it. But the excitement's great.
Yeah.
The one thing I thought
very
was
hard on it. So
no, actually, I'm not gonna lie. Don't take this the wrong way. That was shorter than I thought it would be.
There's a lot. So there's a lot of stuff I could talk about, but it's deep into theory land and like nuances and like reading between the lines stuff that I'm just not going to go on to in here because it's not a lore discussion podcast. So
Rachel, the State of Rachel, Final Fantasy Edition.
Do you need to do a Final Fantasy 7 extra quarter?
I mean, I could.
I bet you could.
I could host it. I could do 15 better, but
you really need to do that. See if you can find who you want to do that with.
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing I noticed at the end of the trailer I thought was kind of funny is it says PlayStation 5 exclusive. That also will come up with a later story. But the fact it says until at least May 29th, 2024. PC. That's the actual wording. Until at least.
PC.
That is... I'm not surprised by that because the previous one did come out on PC later.
After a year,
over a year.
Like a year and a half.
This is just a few months. That's this year. That's in like 3 months.
I think they realized where the bread was buttered.
I'm wondering if that's the case, if this is going to get a PC release that much sooner.
They probably got some type of money for it. And
I'm sure.
Ultimately, here's the thing. Like, if it's out on PC as well as PS5, it's still going to help sell PS5 games. Like, it's another place for it to be advertised.
I mean, it's a third-party game. That's the whole point of it. I mean, that's Square that cares about that. That's their thing.
Mm-hmm. So it's still going to help sell either copy because it's on 2 consoles. So,
all right. Well, moving on to the next little bit. Wrong button again. Whoop-de-doo. Whatever. I cannot keep anything straight half the time. I'm sorry.
You'll get there. It'll happen.
So, I only have so much working memory, and I was like, I'm going to keep a line going so I can have a nice conversion, and just click on the wrong button because brain's like, hit.
What you should get is one of those little soundboard things that you can put like
I want this to work with things other than nothing. Come on, guys, let me do stuff with this thing.
Yeah.
Next news story.
That's what I'm saying is you can program each particular button to do the right thing, but you have to put the little label stickers on them to know what they are.
Well, it has animations. Like I can go through and actually have screens, but it won't work with Zencaster.
Boo!
Because it's a website and this needs to actually run shortcuts on a program. It's a whole mess. And I almost just shut the whole show down. Whoops. Thank God that didn't happen.
Take 2, folks.
It would have been an extra quarter, that's for sure.
That would have been.
I'd have been like, we're going to start over. You two can go. Rachel, just go ahead. We're just going to make this an extra quarter and go from there. So anyways.
And good night.
Right. All right. So on to the real next story. So as much as Sony wants Final Fantasy VII as an exclusive to their system, they're never going to top the sales Nintendo has posted, I think, with this system, as much as they try, because we got updated financials from them this week. I wanted to have just a few highlights on this because, it's numbers, but wow. So the Nintendo Switch is now officially the highest selling console in Japan ever, passing 139.36 million units sold. That's a lot of Switches. And they only have to break 155 million to break the worldwide sales for consoles, beating the PS2. Because that'll put them over the DS and the PS2 itself. That'll be the highest selling of all time.
You can do it.
And here's the funny thing. People were somebody had the argument. They're like, well, the Switch is only selling well because it shouldn't count because it's a portable, or it only got to that because it's a handheld. And I'm like, yeah, and the PS2 got there because it was a DVD player. You can make up excuses for anything. But that's such, they can make that number. Even if they announced tomorrow a new Switch, they're gonna keep supporting the Nintendo Switch for a while. You do not throw away the largest market in the world for gaming overnight. Which kind of leads me more to the belief of the Switch 2 being an extension of the Switch, not a whole new idea, which is cool. Because we're going to probably get cross-compatible games. That's probably going to happen.
As long as we don't get another Wii U. That was a whole thing.
Yeah, I liked it, but I get it. My poor
Not
suffering.
that people didn't like it, but
oh, they didn't because they didn't
majority,
buy it.
You know.
Yeah.
Not a bad console. It was just marketed terribly.
Oh yeah, it was marketed terribly for sure. So a couple of the standouts for the games though, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. 60.58 million copies have been sold. Holy shit. That's a lot of games. That is a lot of Mario Kart.
Well, this is basically Mario Kart 8 became Mario Kart 9.
Basically, I mean, because, all right, so Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U, and we know this was the Wii U, only sold 8.46 million, which was a lot for that system. It was one of the higher sellers on there. But it's almost 61 million copies of Mario Kart is insane.
My favorite thing was watching that video that you posted where it had the graph that went out and then watching everything in order. And I already knew before, like, I saw the data, everything. I was like, oh, it's Mario Kart 8 that's going to go up. And it came in and then it went and like, it like blew everything out of the water. Like, I think the second one was Animal Crossing, but Animal Crossing only sold that well because we were all trapped in our houses for however many months.
That was how we traveled. Well, that one sold 44.79 million. And then the third place was Smash Brothers Ultimate, because I just love that game and wanted to add it in there at 33.67 million. That graph I sent, though, the weird one was the Mario 3D All-Stars. Like, you see it doing really well. Like, it was selling great. And then it just stops. Number just stops. And you're just like, Nintendo, why? Steven, go ahead.
I will point out there was two very interesting investor Q&A answers.
Ooh, go for
it. Let me get his name again. Shuntaro. I got to get his name because it's complicated.
Yeah, I want to try and be accurate if we can.
Yes, it's Shuntaro something or other. Shuntaro Furukawa.
Yes,
he
President
said two
Furukawa.
Interesting things. He said, going into 2024, our focus is Switch. But he didn't say what we're going to leave 2024 with.
Right.
The other thing the investors asked was specifically mentioning a certain game on Steam that's doing gangbusters. And he did confirm that actions will be taken on brands infringing on our intellectual properties. However, people wanting them to do stuff sooner, people got to realize that both the company that made the other game and Pokemon Company themselves, they're both based in Japan where there is no fair use. And Nintendo is probably the most litigious gaming company there is. So I think they're biding their time, getting enough info together, enough proof, and then they're going to basically just drop a big bomb and put it into the offices to explode in their face. But something's happening, and it's probably just going to be the drama of the week when it happens, which we'll go over later. What drama of the week we have?
Yeah, no kidding. So I think with that one for Power World, I think Nintendo realizes there's not going to be too much of a legal issue. Like, the game does kind of cop from Pokemon, but it's one of those things that it might actually fit under parody or so forth. Like, it's not, yeah, you're collecting monsters, but it's more closely to Ark and so forth.
Yeah, the more people play it, the more they realize it's not that they've been duped. It's just kind of a marketing swerve.
Well, the thing is, the creator came out and was calling it Pokemon with Guns, which that was already kind of like, all right, you're banking on the name and the recognition.
And he runs with ideas even if it's not his.
So. Right, which he is very well known for. They might nail his ass to the wall for the Breath of the Wild clone. But in retrospect, people are wondering why they're taking so long doing their research. Well, when that Pokemon mod came out, they were on it like that. It was dropped, and the people at Power World knew not to play with that fire, because not only did they also remove it, they banned anything like that from being on there. They're like, you cannot go in there and do it. And the guy who did the mod came back all angry and did a non-Pokemon or whatever name, or Nanomon or whatever he called it. And like, they're all cheap knockoffs of them. It's like, all right, fine, have your little fit. Like, you took someone's property and we're trying to use it for this mod to get people to buy stuff. Yeah, of course their lawyers are going to go, no, bad. Don't do that.
I feel the
It's one
game's not
thing-
never going to be taken down, but I just feel once Nintendo has enough, it's going to be more of a, this is what changes you need to make to avoid us going to stage 2.
I can see
And
that.
they'll say, fine, we have 7 million players on Xbox. We have so many million players on Steam. We'll do what we need to do to keep you guys cooled off. So I think that's what will happen.
Go ahead, Rachel.
It's one for mods. This is me specifically. When you're using a mod or wanting to do a mod that is for a license, that is putting a licensed property in a licensed property, especially with things like Pokemon in a Pokemon type game, you need to keep it to yourself, or for personal use. There needs to be some disclaimers in there to cover all the bases, and you can share it with maybe some select friends. You should not be throwing it up everywhere, because there's one bear you don't want to poke, and that bear is Nintendo. That's just the nature of the beast.
There's another mod that popped up recently for, surprisingly, Mortal Kombat 1. I don't know if you've seen this, and you should watch the videos.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about, and it's so funny.
It's so well done. I saw like Rafiki beating the crap out of Winnie the Pooh, and I was like, what is going on?
Mm-hmm.
Good job on them. Like, I get that's probably going to get taken down too, but
Winnie the Pooh will stay there. He's free. So
they have to change his design, but yeah, he could stay. So yeah, Nintendo's doing well. We'll probably hear about a Switch 2 this year, but I have a feeling they're going to break that record. Like, real quick, yes or no? I'll ask each of you, starting with Rachel. Do you think Nintendo will make it to the highest selling console, period? Break the PS2 record with the Switch?
I think it's possible.
Wow, I said yes or no, but whatever.
I can't give you a yes or no.
They've only got to sell like such a little amount.
But
not with Paper Mario.
Like, it's just one of those things that, I mean, it's a tough number to beat. How farther do they have to go?
They're at about 140. They have to go to 155. So they got to do about 15 million, which they could easily do with just one quick. Like, as soon as the new Switch comes out, if they drop the price of the old Switch, people are going to just flock to that thing, and they'll make up that.
Yeah. But I will say, I read somewhere that PS2s are still selling, and selling well in Japan. So
probably outselling Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
Well, PS2s, they don't make them anymore.
Nope.
So any of them that are being sold are all going to be used ones.
Mm-hmm.
So that doesn't count towards the sales.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see. Chris, what about you?
If the Switch 2 is not backwards compatible, then people are still going to buy the Switch. So we'll see.
All right, Steven?
That is a good point.
Yes.
Thank you for following the instructions.
I never follow the instructions like that.
For liberty.
For liberty.
Democracy and Switch.
We still love you, Rachel. Chris also, good answer. All right, let's move on to our next one here. So, speaking of the litigious Disney, they've decided to throw some money around, and in a very kind of hurtful move, after they shut down LucasArts and shut down a bunch of Star Wars games and other things. Yes, may LucasArts rest in peace. They're going to put $1.5 billion into Epic Games for a multi-year project for a new persistent universe, pretty much based around Fortnite. as the main part. So people will be able to, quote, play, watch, shop, and engage with many different Disney franchises ranging from classic Disney characters to Pixar, Star Wars, Marvel, and more. And they came out and said, quote, our exciting new relationship with Epic Games will bring together a transformational... Our exciting new relationship with Epic Games will bring together Disney's beloved brands and franchises with the hugely popular Fortnite in a transformational new games and entertainment universe. Ugh. That was CEO Bob Iger who brought that out during the release. He continued saying, this marks Disney's biggest entry ever into the world of games and offers us significant opportunities for growth and expansion. We can't wait for fans to experience the Disney stories and worlds they love in groundbreaking new ways. It's going to be Fortnite, so we're just going to get Mickey with guns. Go ahead,
I hope
Steven.
so. I really hope so.
Go ahead, Steven.
When I read this, I thought two things are going to happen, so I'm putting my stake in the ground right now. Either they're going to shut down Speedstorm and Dreamlight Valley, or they're going to merge them into this universe, so all they need is a music game, and they're basically Disney Fortnite. I can see it. I can see it now. Even though we don't like to report on layoffs, it's going to happen.
I can see them doing that with. I can see them doing that with Speedstorm, but Dreamlight Valley is literally making them quite a bit of money as it is on its own.
Yeah.
So I don't see them doing it for that.
Well, that's why one of the options is they would just say, okay, now it's included. Like when you download Disney Fortnite, you get Dreamlight Valley, you get Speedstorm, and you can just have fun now. I think they'll change how things work with it.
Yeah, Rachel, I will, as company that shall not be named, has proven they will do stupid things for money, even if it makes no sense to everyone else around them. So who knows? Disney could do that.
I will just sit here with the my first thoughts is anytime they talk about like foray into gaming, I'm like, man, this Epic Mickey erasure sadness, that's so sad. And then the knowledge that they had a perfectly good Pirates of the Caribbean pirate game that was not like, it was supposed to be open world and amazing and awesome, and they shut it down and it's just sitting on a hard drive in someone's desk, and I will think about that for many, many years.
Was it before or after Sea of Thieves?
Before,
yeah. I remember
Maybe
that.
they heard of Sea of Thieves and went, oh, they're doing it better.
This was like PS2 era. This was like PS2 era of gaming. Like, it was, I saw some of the alpha footage and it looked good. I will have to bring it. I'll find the trailer for you. It was good.
Not enough people bought at World's End.
So I will sit here and say, you're trying to make this world, and you guys had Disney Infinity sitting right there, and I loved that game.
So here's the thing. Maybe they're gonna use and abuse those assets and worlds and options because it's already there for them to use.
They're gonna maybe buy the game again.
The assets,
and into there.
Okay.
Yeah.
If that's something that they do, although I don't think they're. I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do.
I love Disney Infinity. I thought that was such a great way of combining all the different series under a unified art style that I thought worked out really well. Like everybody,
it was a cool art style. It really was.
Steven, go ahead.
I'm gonna say about Disney Infinity, the world you got to play in, A+, but the build mode was garbage, and that's what caused it all to fail.
True. I did like the fact if you get a hold of it for specifically PS4 is probably one of the best versions. I think it was the third game had an unlock that you could put all the Marvel characters in, and it was basically like a Smash Brothers clone that was really fun, like a party game that you could scan all your figures in to open up the roster. So I purposely went and got every Marvel figure they had to fill that out, and it's really fun. Give it a shot. If you can still get a hold of it, I'm sure that's an expensive game to get now. So, all right, speaking of expensive and, this stuff. So, anybody like anime? Because it got more expensive. Sony has set for Funimation to close on April 2nd. If they just done it a day before, they could have been doubly cruel and made people wonder if it's an April Fool's Day. That's your mom's birthday? Oh, happy birthday to her. But they're going to close Funimation and absorb it into Crunchyroll finally, because Sony has gotten kind of the corner of the market on this. They ended up buying both companies, shut this one down. But the worst part of it is everyone wondering like, of your digital future of where your movies and games and so forth will be. If you bought anything on Funimation, it's gone. You don't get it. It's not carrying over. They'll carry over your watch list to Crunchyroll, but they're deleting all of your purchases as well as doubling the price from $54.99 a year to $99.99 a year in order to watch anime. And all I'm saying is we're going to see, like One Piece, a whole new age of piracy. Just going out there to download some stuff. Get your torrents ready, kids. We're about to teach you what LimeWire is. The better version.
It's a
LimeWire will
virus.
kill your computer. Yeah, it'll destroy your computer.
Lesson over.
Yeah, pretty much. Remember, kids, run an antivirus and scan your stuff. So, what do you guys think about this? About Funimation shutting down and going? Steven, go ahead.
When they first announced this kind of merger, I was like, why hasn't it happened yet? I know I'm in the extreme minority here, but I've never seen a digital copy of anime come with any of the physical anime I've bought, so this affects me zero. And they only specifically talked about Attack on Titan not having the behind the scenes and bloopers anymore, which I'm pretty sure people have R'd already many times over because it's the internet. And I know it hurts a lot of people because of step one of the no longer available and hurting the all digital future idea. But I hate to say this to everybody, but the price increase just makes sense because they have an enormous library that makes Disney Plus, who charges $40 to $50 more than that to take away the ads.
I will say, I'm going to interrupt you real quick. With the cost, though, can they fix their goddamn captioning? Just saying.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Cause right now, actually, my wife's watching all of Naruto, bless her heart, in English. But she also has on subtitles, and Netflix always is whatever they're saying in English. It's not the subtitles. So I was like, that would hurt my brain.
So here's the thing, and this is always on any anime that is on Netflix. If you do the English subtitles with the English dub, it is wrong because the English subtitles that are being used are the English subtitles for the Japanese version, because so the translation is different. English dubs are done so they match the mouth movement, not so it actually matches the words. But they used to on some of the anime on Netflix, and I know they did it on Funimation. There was 2 versions of English subs.
And I found out they did the same thing in The Simpsons, actually. I've watched The Simpsons in Spanish and watched the subtitles. And like you say, 2 completely different things. And that makes sense.
Yeah. So, and sometimes if it's missing one, like I haven't come across it on Netflix in a while because I don't really watch anime as much as I used to. But like I remember if I chose the wrong English subtitle, I would be like, this does not match. So I'm hoping and praying to God that Crunchyroll, with all this extra money, with the upcharge and all that kind of stuff, that they fix their captioning system, because they don't have closed captioning. Yeah. They don't.
So yeah, so I get it with their price increase. It sucks, but now you're getting 2 streaming services in one, so it's part of it's getting to be enough that just get used to it. But the media being removed is the biggest one of its kind that I've heard of, where all the digital stuff is just Thanos out of existence, and that sucks.
Well, like Rachel, you know Amon, right?
Yeah, I know Amon.
Remember Amon? He's losing multiple entire series he had bought on there, just gonna be gone. That he was watching and owned.
I think there's enough. I wish there's a way. There probably is a way with a clever enough person to save that content. Like he has almost about a month to try and figure it out. So
yeah, I've already talked to him, because if he can run it on a PS3, I can help him get it.
Yeah. But
that
part
still shouldn't have to do that.
Part of me wishes, and it would have been goodwill, as if you could convert your dead digital files to like, I don't know, paid time.
Yeah.
with it. I think that would have been acceptable because then at least you can still access all your stuff. So
Yeah, I think
I don't
also
like the precedents that would set though, because then you're like, well, we're going to shut down this thing with all the games you purchased. We'll give you some more time on this online service though. It's like, but I bought these. Like that's
but
supposed to be the point.
here's also the thing. I
Mhm.
think there's been enough backlash that I wouldn't put it past them to come up with something.
yeah,
I
stay
don't think
tuned. Basically.
the reason I don't think they will is because Sony has no reason. Who are you going to go to? They bought the two big ones. And while, yes, technically they're not a monopoly in that regard, you could watch it on Netflix or something for certain things. But they are the big go to. That's like you've got all these other comic book companies, but if one company owned Marvel and DC and they just merged or did whatever, they pretty much own comic books at that point. So now
Amalgam.
that was a great series. I have a trading card set for that. I'll have to show you later. But you can get me all distracted. But with anime, they for especially for North American releases, they are just the place to get this now.
Yeah.
So if whether they raise the price or they do it again later or they take away shows or whatever they decide to do, they have no reason or competition to really do any different than whatever they want.
Yeah, but it's like there has been enough in an uproar about it that it would not make sense for them not to have some type of response. They are
Right, but you guys have already said, "Well, I'm willing to pay the extra because I think we're getting more." Well, how many
yes,
times
but
can they do that?
but here's the thing: like I have not purchased anything on there other than a
Right.
subscription. I have not lost anything on that. But enough people, they have to look at the monetary value. Like that's some people are losing possibly thousands of dollars
Mhm.
worth of stuff. That is not good. That there's got to be
I
some
agree.
goodwill there. And Sony, I have not ever known Sony to completely ignore that. Like ever. I mean, I bet their legal team is already looking at stuff. Like it would not make sense for them to do otherwise.
You got to
From a
remember that
business
even
standpoint, it
they
doesn't make
adjusted
sense.
the PlayStation Plus prices when they all got crazily misunderstood and
Yeah.
overinflated. So when that came out, they were like, "We're streamlining it. We'll let you know as soon as it releases. Here, like the exact details." So
Yeah.
I think when there's enough pushback, they do something.
They are going to do something. Like it does not logically make sense from a business standpoint for them not to have a response.
Speaking of, they better give a response.
Well, I'll have to look into it because it's not just like someone's thinking this is going to happen. They made a statement like you're losing these. You are not.
Oh,
you're
I know
losing the
that's what they
purchases and-
said.
yeah.
But that's what they said, and they can't. I guarantee you, someone on their legal team said, if you do this, this is the response that you're going to get. Like you're taking away content that people bought. Like
I think they waited for a particular reason. I think that because they've been holding on to this for over a year,
mhm,
honestly. And yes, straight up, this is a tinfoil hat moment, guys.
yeah,
I think their lawyers waited to make this move because they were fighting so hard against the merger that they did not want to sit there and go, well, and point out the fact that, okay, we've pretty much cornered this market. We're about to then constrict it and people are going to lose all this content, which is exactly what they were arguing would happen with other companies. And now that has kind of finished, now they're comfortable to make that move and do that.
Well, I'm just saying it doesn't logically make sense for them to announce this, have as much backlash as they have had, for them not to have a response. There's going to be some kind of response.
I hope so.
I don't know what that is, but it's going to have to be something because that's a lot of money that
they're
people are
going to
losing.
have to. But right now, I'm going to go by what they've actually said and are doing.
Yeah.
I can't guess that they're going to have goodwill.
Oh, I don't know what.
Yeah,
I know for a
the
fact
problem.
that they're not going to let people keep their content. Like that's not going to happen. But there's going to have to be some compensation because that's unless it's in the contract somewhere in the fine print that says you can lose this content.
Bullshit.
You can lose this content at any time for
Rachel,
no apparent reason.
I hate to use Rachel against Rachel, but
corporate greed
is going to come into play.
We need Darth Vader saying, "I've altered the deal. Pray I don't alter it further."
Yeah.
Oh, if Disney wouldn't sue my ass, I'd do it.
Yeah. But anyway, like I just said, logically, especially knowing Sony, it doesn't make sense for them not to have some type of response. What that response
Yeah,
is,
a company
I don't
should
know.
give a response right away.
Not right
Yeah,
away.
so that there's no
Steven-
confusion.
Yeah,
Oh,
not right
Steven-
away. They're gonna they announced this just a couple days ago.
Yeah, don't wait until next week to talk about it, because that's when everybody's pissed.
Oh god,
Yeah.
Steven's wanting this jump so bad. Let's just get it over with.
Give him a week.
So, as what Steven has so desperately tried to connect this with is Xbox has had kind of a rough week, guys. There's some shit that went down. So
I've been trying to ignore it.
I'm just going to give an overview on this, and I've had some fun responses for it. And yeah, I have been kind of pissed about some of the stuff in regards to what's been going on with it, and I think I have every right to be so. But I will go ahead right off the bat. Nobody, no matter how pissed you are, had the right to go after and wish harm on anybody, threaten anybody, or some of the crap they did. Y'all can just go to hell with that one. You can be upset about something without wishing harm to somebody else. It's freaking video games, no matter what, at the end of the day. Calm down. That being said. So, rumors popped up, and they were rumors, but also reported by some people that are usually pretty good about reporting for some of these things about Xbox in regards to Starfield coming to PlayStation. It goes either way on that one. Like we've already talked about the fact of Hi-Fi Rush possibly coming to PS5 and Switch. Smaller title, it's kind of like Ori. It could benefit. And then Sea of Thieves, we were all gung-ho about that because it's just more players for a games as a service game. That makes sense. Honestly, it does. Starfield, I felt, would be kind of a weird one because it was promised so much as the exclusive as part of for the Xbox and for PC.
The CEO, Sarah Bond, said as much.
Right. Even their ads and stuff show that. And that was kind of, people were like, well, it's not so much they were mad that Starfield was going to PlayStation. It's more of like, well, if you guys are going to keep going back on what you're saying, that kind of causes a trust issue. But the key to what's been the biggest problem is Microsoft sucks at talking to people. Like
They've always sucked at talking to people.
Yep.
They're computer nerds. I love them.
Hey, now.
Listen, it's a true statement, okay?
But Jay Allard had tattoos. He wasn't a nerd.
You can have tattoos and still be a nerd.
I know. I'm making a joke. Damn it, Rachel. You know me too well.
Ow.
See, that's what you get. Oh, come on, Chris. I'm being silly. So
you hurt yourself. Rescue! I'm here. Rescue!
Ripping the headphones out of her ears. Oh my god! If you're listening to this, you should watch it. It's hilarious. A dog just.
Mommy got hurt. I'm here. Oh,
the
I'm
dog
so
is
sorry.
exclusive to Rachel.
Anyways,
I'm the only one with the dog.
That's great. I wish I had a dog. So Microsoft's really bad about talking to their people, their fans, players, whatever, and that leaves kind of a void where they're really vague about stuff, which I know has been a combination with regards to the FTC trials. They couldn't come out and be too blatant about things and so forth. So we had situations like when Blade was announced, there was nothing on there saying, was it exclusive? Was it not? Like they're still trying to figure out the whole back and forth. And people wondered. So when these rumors came out, it kind of had a vacuum of information that kind of started getting people worried about what was going on. And people can be passionate about, having an Xbox or having a PlayStation. I've seen this in both directions, or having Nintendo. And this is, yes, people try and minimize and say, oh, it's just a plastic box or it's console wars. Like, this is an investment people make in that. So just like Rachel, you invested and decided to have a PlayStation 5. You have that system. You're excited for games that come out for it. You bought that because of the games that are coming to it. I'm sure you didn't buy it just to watch DVDs. Definitely not to play CDs, because it can't.
But it can watch DVDs, and that's what matters.
It can, but it cannot play CDs, which is still super weird.
Can the PS4 play CDs?
Yes. No, it can. Can it? I thought it could.
No, it cannot.
The
I don't know.
PS3, I don't think it can.
PS3 can.
because
The
it
3
uses the
can?
same laser as PS1.
And the
Yes.
PS2 can play CDs because I used it as a CD player.
Because
for
it
a
uses
time.
the same laser as PS1.
Right. Because it was a DVD player, and every DVD player is also a CD player. Anyways, I'm getting into a whole black hole there.
That's that's so weird that every DVD player is also a CD player. Every Blu-ray player is typically a DVD player, but it is not a CD player.
The only reason you can't play CDs is because they don't have the software on those.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a whole thing.
Moving on, though.
So
We park in a driveway and we drive on a parkway. Anyway.
cats and dogs living together, mass hysteria.
Microsoft has no penis. It's true.
That's a short if I ever heard one.
Wow. Oh my god.
Whoa!
Did not expect that. It's true, Your Honor. This company has no penis.
Oh.
So
Suki didn't like that.
So the rumors are building up. You got people fighting back and forth. Some people were getting upset. And yeah, I was posting a lot about it because I'm trying to actually communicate with more people, so it'll do stuff.
You got some
But-
interesting comments on those posts.
I know, and
Yeah, I was like, he's setting
I
fires.
was like, damn.
I was having fun with it.
He's setting fires and seeing what burns. I was like, okay.
This is part of why, because I'm like, hey, we have a podcast Twitter account, which means I have my own account back. I can say whatever I want again. And I've been using that. So people have been getting upset, going back and forth, the whole argument for it, but it boils down a lot to the whole idea, and we've talked about this before, about exclusivity for hardware, where I know we had different opinions on it. I always felt that exclusivity was an important piece for a console's growth, because if you don't have reasons to get that hardware, it kind of defeats the purpose. Just like Sony's advertising the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth as a PlayStation 5 exclusive, even if it's just timed, apparently, even though the first one seems to be forever. And PC at this point, I almost don't even count. But that's kind of why you get it. You get a Switch because you want Mario and Animal Crossing and Smash Brothers and Pikmin and all that stuff. Not Chibi Robo, though, because you people won't buy it, and I hate you for that. So people were wondering, like, well, with Xbox, if it doesn't have exclusives, because it kept snowballing, people kept coming up with more rumors, and then of course more people kept pushing and pushing more abstract and weird ones. I swear to God, the one that said Scalebound was coming to PS5 made me laugh so hard.
Listen, if it did, I'd buy it. Okay, that was the one trailer out of that one E3 that was like, oh, that looks cool as hell. Oh, it's just for Xbox. Well, I can go jump in a lake, I guess. So
I've always kind of wondered about that attitude with that, though, because like the way you say that, because like with Final Fantasy VII, I might as well jump in a lake. I can't get that on an Xbox, and there's a lot more on a PlayStation that's releasing there because people feel they can make games for that and go from there, but they're not making as much on Xbox. And a lot of the defenses I've seen, people are going, oh, well, they'll continue to make hardware. It'll just be for Game Pass. Okay, I get people like Game Pass. Steven will not quit pushing me to finally use the free codes to finally use it because he wants to play
everything.
What is it called? Not Gang Beasts, but
Party Animals.
Party Animals. Really bad.
oh boy.
I'm about to just cave and do this anyways once, we finish Helldivers.
Join us.
But I don't like to use that, so that wouldn't do much for me. And we've already seen a couple, specifically indie developers, come out and go, well, if this is true, I'm not going to develop on Xbox anymore, because they were making a game for that they could not get onto Game Pass because they only have so many slots, and Microsoft said no. So they said, well, if Xbox is going to become a Game Pass machine, why would I make a game there that people need to pay for when I could make it just for PlayStation, knowing that those people will pay for games? So there's a better chance it will sell and they'll just make it for there. So Microsoft is kind of shooting themselves in the foot, potentially, to make money on the short term. I think the way I described it, and this is my analogy, I had fun with it and I keep using it, is if Microsoft was a zoo and they wanted to save money by just stop feeding the animals in the zoo. You'll have a little while that people keep coming. They're seeing the animals are making money and they're saving that extra money by not spending the food. But then all of your animals or third-party games are going to die off, and consumers are going to stop going to your zoo because there's nothing there. It's an empty
That's
zoo.
depressing.
Yeah, it's very depressing. They're going to go to the other zoo that has all the living animals.
Yep.
That is the short-term gain they will get. And I think the other
They'll
part,
go to the Tokyo jungle.
that was a fun game. Really interesting. Play that on PS3. It's worth it.
It's awesome.
And you can get it physically, by the way.
Yes.
You guys are bad about making me go on tangents. So fuck, where was I? Straight up, that just killed it.
How orange juice is the new orange.
Okay. You're really messing me up now.
Listen, from all this discourse with the Xbox stuff coming to PS5 or whatever, the best news out of this was them saying, "Oh, you know, maybe Indiana Jones," and I was like, "Yes."
That's the other rumor for that, because if Microsoft does that and they're putting the games over there, they're really PlayStation's already getting all of this stuff. They're just wanting to get more. That's what my thought was. The part that was frustrating me, and I'm Rachel, I'm not aiming this at you. I just want to have the conversation because you're the PlayStation person for a lot of stuff, so don't take it wrong. But people would come back with the argument of Microsoft would be stupid not to sell these games other places because they'd make more money. But then they would come up with a mental block. And I even screenshot some of these responses because it was like the gymnastics would make Nightcrawler look like he couldn't walk. Comic book joke for you guys. Because they immediately thought that was not the case in the other direction. Sony should not take their games, their first party titles or third party exclusives onto other things, because that's why they bought the hardware. That's why they bought a PlayStation. They have for some, but they want all in all. So the way I look at it, if you want a truly agnostic development, that cannot be a one-way bridge.
I think Sony has been smart about this after time has passed, timed exclusivity, they have put some things onto PC.
And that's fine. And I get that. Yeah. Not everything, but they have been doing it with more stuff.
But
that's
here's
good.
The thing. Most Xbox games also come out on PC because that's just the way it is. It's
Windows
Microsoft
is
product.
Microsoft.
Yeah. So I think that if we're going with the agnostic argument, what they could do is that some things, after time has passed, games of their choosing to help them more money can be put onto other things. A good game with that would be Ori onto the Switch. Like, you could pick and choose.
I kind of see the fallacy you're falling into. A lot of other people were doing, though. But go ahead, Stephen, first. Go ahead.
Well, I have a long thought, so finish your guys up.
The thing I was saying is, like, the games, it's one thing, like, if Microsoft releases to Windows, because that is still Microsoft.
Yes, it's
still
their
on
same
Xbox. Sony releases to Windows for PC. They're doing their thing.
Yeah.
But then PlayStation getting the Xbox games, but Xbox not getting anything back makes you wonder, why do you have an Xbox? You could buy a PlayStation where you get Final Fantasy VII, you get God of War. All of a sudden, you're getting Starfield.
But what I'm saying is that, you know, Microsoft does get something back when Sony puts their stuff on PC. They are getting something. And there are PlayStation games that have, have they? Every time I think of Final Fantasy stuff, I primarily put it on PlayStation and consider it a PlayStation exclusive game. And then some of them have come to Xbox. So that's why I think of it that way.
Yeah, that's a whole third party thing. But
that is
they're
a
talking
third
about
party.
First party stuff. Yeah.
But they are putting them onto PC selectively.
Mm-hmm.
Like Spider-Man came to it. Didn't God of War recently get put on PC?
The first one,
yeah,
the first one. We're still waiting on Ragnarok.
they are being picky and choosy. So I think that, and here's the thing, if Microsoft doesn't have anywhere else to like put their stuff, they can't just say, oh, well, we'll just put it on PC because it's already Microsoft. So their options are, let's pick and choose from a like really curated library of stuff that would be appropriate to put on Switch, like, or a
which I get
curated
that.
library to put. And Sony can do the same thing with PlayStation stuff. But they're not going to put it on Xbox. They're
That's
just
the
not.
problem. That's the
But it's
problem.
not. It's going on.
Well, no,
It's going on another another
Rachel,
thing.
But Rachel,
Yeah.
why would someone, okay, Brent, my friend,
Mm-hmm.
only has a Series X because I bought him one because of the games that were coming out.
Mm-hmm.
If those exclusives are going to PlayStation, for one, I should have probably bought him a PlayStation because he would get to play these titles and play the PlayStation exclusive ones.
Well, we don't even know that this is happening. Also,
well, I know, but this part of the thing for this though, where people were fine with that happening, but not understanding if that was the console you had, not everybody has every system. Not everybody can afford that. I am in the lucky group to be able to have all of these. I'm not going to lose access to anything.
Yeah.
But why would people continue to get an Xbox? Or more importantly, why would developers develop even the limited amount of third party they have for Xbox if everybody's going to be getting this stuff on PlayStation anyways? Yes, PC, of course, they're going to do that because of Steam, Epic, and all that stuff. And Sony should be taking advantage of that. I think Nintendo should probably take advantage of that in some cases, but obviously they're doing fine not to.
Yeah.
Microsoft's going to, because that is the way their market works with that and the way they do PC. But if those games on an Xbox are going to a PlayStation, it kind of kills the purpose of an Xbox. And people that have invested over the years in these and built up libraries with thousands upon thousands of dollars between Xbox 360, Xbox One, and now Series X and S, that box could be basically the end of the line for that because you are not getting anything new with it. It's a stagnant Dreamcast, basically, with those releases going to, why get a Dreamcast when you can get Sonic on a GameCube or this on an Xbox? But it's more focused on a company that's already the market leader on size. So you're tapping that line of what they have, and you're eventually going to drain out the purpose of that system. Does that make sense?
I mean, that's just gonna, from my mindset, what you just said, it's just gonna prevent new people from buying an Xbox. That's all. The people who already have it have it. The games that are coming out for it are already coming out for it. Now it's just gonna come out to other systems. You already have an Xbox Series X. Like, you're not gonna all of a sudden jump ship and go over to PlayStation because they're going there also anyway. You already have that system. If you cannot afford to get another system, you're just going to keep that system and play what's coming out for it. It's not going to.
So how would you look at it? All right. So if I know like PlayStation 5 games you get, they come out, you've got to wait like at least a year or more before they go anywhere else. But if they're day and date or coming out with that a couple months later, where they're getting all the patches, all the fixes, probably DLC, like it's going to be a better version of it. Look at the Medium. Do you remember that one when it came out, when Xbox launched and eventually came out on PS5? It's Blooper Team, the same people that are now making Silent Hill 2. Great game. I got it on Xbox. I loved it. But then when they did release it over on PlayStation, they got a version that had all the fixes, ran better. I was like, well, crap, I'm going to have to buy it again because they originally said it was an exclusive. They decided to bring it over to PlayStation, made a better one. And I was like, well, shit, why didn't I just wait? Because
I mean, here's the thing. You can't predict what's going to happen.
Very true.
Like, here's the thing. Like, for example, me buying Paradise Killer. I love it. Absolutely love it. Had I known that they were going to put out a collector's edition on PS5 a couple months after I bought it, I would not have bought it then. I would have waited and gotten the collector's edition.
That's very true.
You can't predict what people are going to do and then feel like super bad about it after. Like, it's human nature to be like, oh man, I wish I had just waited. But you can't predict the future. I think I worded my argument badly. Like, it's one of those things that it's like, I get what you're trying to say. I'm fortunately on the on the side of the market where this is very beneficial for if this happens. But I'm there. You're right. Sony should put stuff on Xbox eventually, but I think if it's going to go both ways, they're gonna have to be curated titles. Like Xbox,
Yeah.
I think Microsoft is only considering this because to them, they don't have anywhere else to go to port it to. Like they could only put so many things on Nintendo. They could only consider certain titles because I think they have a certain mindset for what that console is and what it can handle, which
They've
to
made
their
some good
point,
money over there, though. But yeah,
yeah, they have. And then there's not really much else that they can like port it to if they were looking at porting stuff. Sony has two options. I mean, they could do to Nintendo, but like
boy, that'd be an
not
awkward coming back with your ex.
yeah, it's not something that they immediately think about.
Yeah.
Like there's not titles that I can think of right now that are a PS5 exclusive that have come out that I would be like, "Oh yeah, that would be fun to play on Switch." Can't think of a damn thing. Not a damn thing right now. Head empty, no thoughts when it comes to that. So they, like I said, it kind of they don't really have another place to go. Like
Right.
the other place that Sony has, which is easy for them, is the PC to consider
Right.
because to them that is it encompasses another part of the market that is Microsoft.
Which it does help because I mean,
Yeah.
I just bought Helldivers 2, a
Mhm.
PlayStation title,
Yeah.
on PC
Mhm.
yesterday. So yeah,
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah. So
Uh,
I think, I in a perfect world, it would
Mhm.
go both ways, but it's not a perfect world.
Right.
So I think that if they follow the same kind of model that Sony is doing now with porting some of their very extremely curated and considered titles to PC, if
Mhm.
they're going to put it to somewhere, it has to be extremely curated of stuff that they think would do very well on that. Starfield, because hey, it's very Fallout vibes.
Yeah.
And Fallout games came out on the PlayStation. So that's probably why they were considering that. And ultimately, I don't think it sold as well as they were thinking it was going to sell as an exclusive. And that's also probably another reason why they're considering that too. So then with that argument, you also kind of have to consider they someone up there up at the top or whatever probably thought, well, God, if we're doing this for this, what other titles should we consider that we want to make more money off of? So it's just another thing, and I'll say it again, corporate greed, but in a weird positive way.
Maybe. I think there's a lot of people kind of theorize there's infighting. Microsoft is making the decision while Xbox is not. So I'm very
That is
curious.
100% possible.
Oh yeah. Steven, I'm sorry it took a minute. What did you have? Go for it, man.
Okay, so I want to start off by quoting a very famous musician
Okay.
called Taylor Swift.
Oh
Oh
boy,
boy.
here we go.
You need to calm down. You're being too loud, is what I'm going to say to everybody arguing about this.
Okay.
Because they're just speaking as fans, they're
Mhm.
speaking as their hardware purists, what
Mhm.
have you, gamers, whatever title you want to give them. But the fact of the matter is, you're not looking at the whole picture, as Rachel's been pointing out. We saw it in the PS2, Xbox, GameCube days where
Mhm.
things that were exclusive came to the other systems, and it didn't really make a dent. It just caused more fans of that franchise, sure, but a few things to kind of put bullet points on is looking at the hardware itself.
Mhm.
People love what the hardware does. When people
Right.
ask me which one do you love more, I give pros and cons. I think a lot of people, no matter what comes out on PlayStation, are going to stay with Xbox because they know that they're going to get more audio and video options that just aren't on PlayStation yet
Mhm.
or at all. They're going to get more accessibility options. They had the controller out first that was for accessibility that basically went through all their testing.
Mhm.
They had their elite version of their controller first.
Right.
They have third-party controller support, and they have a different control scheme where you don't have a giant touchable touchpad or a light bar that's taking your battery life to like 4 hours versus AA's and AAA's and rechargeable batteries that last quite a bit longer.
Mhm.
So I think with hardware differences, you're still going to get people that no matter what comes out on PlayStation and what leaves Xbox,
Right.
it's not going to hurt them per se. And
True.
a few more things would be
Yeah.
that if they're going to release, say, Gears of War on PlayStation, which was the latest.
At that point, I'm just like, people are
point.
making up excuses just to make
I
stories.
could see them pulling a Wii U where the bigger system gets got Mass Effect trilogy, PS4 and Xbox One, and then Wii U got Mass Effect 3. So they could easily give the best Gears of War to PlayStation, but give the collection to Xbox, saying you
True.
can have a taste. And all it would do is it would be like, wow, that series is really good. You're telling me to get the whole collection or to play the backwards compatible ones like Judgment. I need to get an Xbox. I'm in.
In a
So
way,
I
it
think
helps them sell their console.
so.
Like,
If next week he announces stuff like piecemealing, where he's like, you'll get this one, but we have all of it over here.
mhm.
Right.
I think that's brilliant to do all that. The
And I
only
think-
thing that I thought had merit was Hi-Fi Rush, because the anniversary was coming out,
Yeah.
and when they data mined it, they had 2 shirts in there. One of them had said drop in, everywhere, and the other one was blue, and the guy was holding his guitar like Cloud, and it was, I was like, it's a blue background. How can you say no, it's not PlayStation?
Yeah.
That
Right.
one had enough merit to say that's probably definitely happening now.
Yeah.
And like you
Agreed.
said, Sea of Thieves just makes sense. If
It
you
just
have a
makes
live
sense,
service, if you have a live service game, expand it. You're gonna do nothing but make money.
Mhm.
It's just the fact of the matter. So when you put all these things together, yes, there's all this infighting, but like I stated before, calm down. Like you're just speaking hypotheticals. You're just
Yeah.
speaking.
Yeah.
It's gonna do this. I've gone through enough of it already. When I, as a retro purist and on a lot of things, and I've even stated it on X when I posted, "Hey, how do you think it feels when NES games are released on other systems and they're not coming to Switch? When I can't play Disney Afternoon on my Switch, when I can't play Super Star Wars Trilogy on my Switch, but I have to go to Sony to play my Super Nintendo games for Star Wars, and I have to go to Xbox or Steam or Sony to play DuckTales."
Oh,
I was like,
the
I
licensing.
can't even play DuckTales Remastered on Switch. Come on, Capcom, it's free money.
The licensing argument is always such a fun argument because of contract terms.
So,
Yeah.
and if I had to guess, another route they could take on this whole thing is, just like Rachel pointed out, they could easily say Indiana Jones, when it releases, it's going to have this, and you're going to have this DLC that comes out towards the holidays, but PlayStation won't get any DLC for an entire year. So it's going to be the Destiny thing all over again, that by the time it comes out for PlayStation, does it really have the same fans that Xbox already has around that game?
Yeah.
So I just think when something comes out a year later, it's the right thing to do for exclusives, because it kills kind of the, well, I don't need this system then, because people, let's get real, you're not going to wait a year just because it's coming out on a system you have. I would never do that. I would never say, well, I guess I'll wait a year to get it on the more powerful system. It's like, or I'll get it on the one I have. So I don't think that'll fly in any way. So again, like, next week's going to be interesting, especially if Nintendo stealth drops a direct or even a partner showcase, for all I'm concerned, with all the rumors. But the nastiest thing that can happen nowadays is you get one very credible report, and then people know that that's going to trend and get clicks.
Yep.
So then they try to, just like Smash Brothers roster, they just try to put in all these hypotheticals just to make people mad and think crazy thoughts. And I hate it, but it's the internet now.
Yes. So before I wrap this up, Chris, I know you've been kind of quietly staring at us insane people talking. Do you have any thoughts on this?
I own a PC, so I'm fine. I'm good.
Yeah, see?
Master Race.
He's actually the positive of all of this, because all of the things are going to eventually come to PC, as is tradition. That's just
I'm
what
just
happens.
sitting here going, yeah, fine, whatever. You guys pick and choose over the garbage. I'll just take this and
Chris is like, I get everything, and when I can't get, I emulate. Goodbye.
Right. So just to finish, like, for people that are like, oh, Jeremy, you're getting all upset and angry. I'm fine. But this is still a topic I like to talk about because the actual health of gaming, and I've seen decades of this, be it, the rise of the NES, the SNES, the Genesis, PlayStation coming in and pretty much slaughtering everybody. The PS2 becoming super popular on pre-orders based on straight out lies versus what the Dreamcast was, and it falling and closing down after getting one of those after like 2 years, and so many things have happened.
Dreamcast died because of the R's.
Oh,
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, probably.
That's a good chunk of it.
If you look at history,
That's
that was the biggest and probably a box of nails for that coffin.
I still wonder.
You didn't have to buy the games if you could just make them.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I still
Yep.
wonder how the Dreamcast would have done if they had taken the extra step to put a DVD player in it. They had thought about it, but that's a whole nother topic we could have for a big question one week. But
Gesundheit.
thank you. I meant to mute. So in the end, a lot of this comes down to, like I said, the lack of communication from Microsoft. Like Phil's response to this was just like, we'll have more about this next. Like, we hear you, and we'll have more about it next week on as they talk about their business plan. And everyone's like, well, what the hell does that mean? Like, you didn't answer anything. So that just stirs it up. And then, Stephen, as you pointed out, and as I've said too, you've got all these sources that are coming out and saying more and more outlandish things to get people's reactions, to rile it up. And I am honestly just trying to talk about that. And I think a lot of it is I have a tendency where I'll see logical fallacies in an argument, and it kind of bothers me if like, well, it should work equivalent in the other direction as well. And I guess that's just kind of a mental thing with me that happens.
If I want to be one of those people who are dreaming of stuff coming over, give me Rare Replay on Switch.
Yeah,
oh, that would make sense. Like, and Microsoft has had a history of putting games on, like, especially like Nintendo stuff. They did it for Game Boy Advance, the DS. Like, we had Banjo and other stuff come around. Let Nintendo make another Banjo, damn it, or at least let Rare make a Banjo on the Switch.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was kind of the back and forth and the mental gymnastics. And there was also people that were purposely trying to antagonize. And I think you're not making we're having a discussion about it. We can agree or disagree on something, but we're talking about it. I get frustrated with people that just come back with just asinine responses. And you're like, you're not even trying to be part of this conversation.
Because they're monetizing their response.
Yeah, exactly. And I get that.
I hate to say this about people on X, but if you have a blue check mark, there's a possibility that you're just setting fires, because the bigger the fire, the more money you get.
Correct.
Yes.
But like I said, Jeremy, in a perfect world, there would be an equivalent exchange. But we don't live in a perfect world. We live in a world with corporate greed. So the most that they can do, and the most that they likely will do, is a curated library to release on certain systems. And I think
that would make sense. I really do. Especially, and I think, like I said, when I'm talking about like PlayStation releasing stuff, just like I think for Xbox releasing stuff, it should be particular certain stuff. I think Helldivers 2 could have been released on Xbox as well, just as much as Sea of Thieves going over, because it's just more players on a multiplayer service, whether it makes sense to everybody or not. It's more people to play. I mean, hell, I'm playing it with a damn Xbox controller.
I think also... go ahead. No.
So my final thought on the matter is, okay, everybody out there, if you want to get mad at something, get mad at the fact that Final Fantasy 14 on Xbox will require an Xbox Live subscription on top of the Final Fantasy Square subscription.
I don't get that. That's so weird.
So if you want to get mad at something that they could turn around and fix, do that.
Wait, doesn't PlayStation?
Nope.
Oh,
Jeremy does not.
Good job.
It's such a weird one. Well, that's the funny thing. Microsoft doesn't do that for anything else. Something about this deal is requiring them to have that. So I'm like, what did Square make them do to get it?
It's likely a legal thing. So there must be something else going behind the scenes that we don't know about. But I will say, my final thought is if Microsoft Xbox is going to be bringing titles over to the PlayStation, I don't think that they should necessarily consider immediately new titles unless they're really jazzed about it. I think they need to go back into their library and thumb through it, look also at the data too, because they have years and years and histories of social media data that
Mhm.
they could look through of seeing what would people be really excited about from our vast library of exclusives to come to the PlayStation, because that is a really good way to also renew maybe an old franchise, like renew interest in it and get new people playing it. And then maybe if it does well enough, they could make a new game for something.
Even Frenzy 3.
I'll
Yeah.
say this. Here's the
Yeah.
one situation I don't
Mhm.
want that
Mhm.
really personally pissed me off.
Mhm.
Why in God's name did you release Shenmue 1 and 2 on the Xbox One redone in HD and then freaking make the third one only on PlayStation? Like, why did you even tease me with that? Like, I can't
Kickstarter,
even
though.
get the
That
third
was
one.
It
Kickstarter.
was Kickstarter. It might
That's
have been a
still, I was
legal
like,
thing.
And
So
then
mother.
Sony saw the money, and Sony basically bought off the Kickstarter.
yes,
That's true. I was like,
So
just
that
don't do
was
that. Just don't do that to me.
but
By
It's-
next
it's-
week,
yeah.
whatever happens, like this could be completely like, yeah, we weren't doing any of that shit. We had to talk to corporate first. It could be absolutely hilarious. Like we could be laughing
Well,
about this,
but
or I
here's
could
the
just be like,
thing.
here's the show.
Here's the thing.
Halo
though.
for Helldivers.
Here's another thing though. Now that all of this discourse has happened,
Mm-hmm.
Microsoft and Xbox is aware of how people feel about the matter on all sides. They know what they're
Yeah.
excited about. They know what they would love to see brought over. They have all the data they need to do something very successful.
I hope so.
Free.
And it's
Free market research.
exactly free market research. They didn't have to pay anybody to do polling or design anything or send out emails or
did
nothing.
they?
They might have. Who knows? So it's just one of those things that I'm like, well, it is what it is.
Like to
But-
the people that went to like they were posting their receipts, like I sold my Xbox. Like, dude, calm down. Like
Yeah,
you still have your system, even if they like. If they pulled a Dreamcast and like next week they announced we're not making anything else for the Series X, yeah, I'm gonna be pissed.
Mhm.
But the
that's like
hundreds of games I
boycotting-
already have still fucking work.
But that's like
Yeah.
boycotting a sporting team or a beer by throwing it all out. I'm like, you already bought it.
Oh god, yeah, those people are stupid.
So
All right,
if you're
so-
selling your Xbox,
So for all you people that are like, oh, Jeremy's just upset. No, I'm fine. I just wanted to talk about it.
he's not mad. He's disappointed.
Yeah, I'm not mad at you. I'm disappointed. And I will do the dad thing too. Just I'm very disappointed in you. I'm not upset. Just do better. So there's a quotable for me. All right, let's finish this off with the big question.
I'm ready.
Yes. So Steven, you set this up confusingly. I'm gonna let you do this.
Yeah. So so for everybody, this is the month to do it.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to captown.capcom.com, that's a lot of comms. It will have right in the middle of their page, they have a super election. These are basically a survey unlike any other that you've taken because they actually do take these to heart. They do post the results,
Mm-hmm.
and it has at least ended in some crossovers, at least in the costume or attires there where they can get them in the game. So if you wanted to see Lieutenant Kurosawa from the Aliens vs. Predator Capcom game, you saw it in Street Fighter, mostly thanks to the survey. So they put out another one. There are other questions on there that you can kind of find out yourself what you want to say to them, that you want new IPs and such. But the two that stood out is they gave two big questions, which I'll go over and give the list. And we've all taken the survey already,
Uh-huh.
so I don't
Mhm.
think we need to go too far into it unless we want to make a Capcom extra quarter. But I will
I
at
would
least
like
state
that.
at least one or two. You can
Mhm.
do up to 3 on the survey, but I'll at least do 1 or 2 of what I picked from these two big questions. So part 1 was, which Capcom series or spin-off do you want a sequel or new game made? Now, you have Darkstalkers, Okami, Onimusha, Ace Attorney, Street Fighter, Sengoku Basara, Dino Crisis, Dead Rising, Devil May Cry, Dragon's Dogma, the sleeper hit Tawaru no Paruma, a versus Capcom game, Resident Evil, Final Fight, Breath of Fire, Ghost and Goblins, Monster Hunter, Lost Planet, Mega Man, and for the purists, 1942. I'll go first personally, because it's been so long. I'm going to say Darkstalkers for at least one of them. And the other one was I would like to see what the collaboration is, so I want to see another versus Capcom.
Nice. All right. For mine, of course, I also did Darkstalkers because it's been forever, and like Chris needs the support. But for me, my other two choices were one made sense. One, Steven, I think, looked at me like, why? Was Dead Rising. I love the series. I'd love to see it come back with a new version. Like, I absolutely adore those games. And then lastly, because I'm a sucker for these, 1942. I love me some vertical shooters, man. I'm down for this. That's what I voted on. So, Chris, what about you?
Well, yes, Darkstalkers, because everyone else did, so I had to be part of the group.
Oh, please, we did
But
it for
aside,
you.
Cheap.
I know. But aside from that, probably, we did get Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection, so I'm good there.
Mm.
But it would be nice to get a Breath of Fire game that went back to its roots and didn't do that whole Dragon Quarter deal.
Mm.
Aside from that, maybe versus Capcom. We'll see.
Okay. Rachel, what about you?
So I've never played Darkstalkers. Please don't kill me. So I don't know. I've also never played Onimusha, so I don't know anything about that either.
It's an interesting series.
Okay, I'm interested in
Evil with a
learning about
sword.
it. What?
It's Resident Evil with a sword.
It's
And a
Samurai
and a
Resident
French
Evil.
cop in one of them. That's a weird one too.
Okay,
It gets weird.
I'm admittedly intrigued. I will have to look this up. I will also have to look up Darkstalkers because am I hallucinating? Is there a lady with blue hair with bat wings coming out of her head? Is that from
Morrigan.
Darkstalkers?
So
Okay,
a quick
cool.
primer.
boy.
Yes.
Essentially,
You pulled that
Darkstalkers
cord.
was Street Fighter. Originally,
Oh.
they were going to work with Universal monsters. So you were going to have Dracula, the werewolf, the creature from the Black Lagoon, all of those as fighting game characters. Then Universal said, nah. So they made ripoffs, and that's Darkstalkers. You didn't know that one, huh? Okay.
I figured you would. You don't remember like Felicia, she's been in some of the Marvel vs. Capcom games where she's like the white cat, like the cat lady. And then of course you knew Morrigan from there.
This will just send you the
Oh,
4-hour history.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you guys are, Jeremy, you should know this about me. You're assuming that I've played any fighting game whatsoever.
That's
I have
true.
not.
She is not a fighting person.
I'm not a fighting game person. So if
Not against it, she
Darkstalkers,
just-
if Darkstalkers is indeed a fighting game, no wonder I haven't played it.
They were
There you
also
go.
a puzzle fighter.
Yeah.
So which ones did you pick that did not involve lawyers? No.
Well, guess what? I did pick Ace Attorney, so good job to legs, Steven.
You broke her. She was like, oh.
And one would think I would pick Devil May Cry, but I think the last game ended it on it ended it. I don't know that is there more they can do? I don't know.
It's video games. They'll make up something.
I'm sure they will, because Dante's a moneymaker. But other than Ace Attorney, my other title was Okami.
Nice.
Ooh, that's a good one.
So because
hopefully you played Okami Den, little puppy version.
Oh,
yes,
so adorable.
I have not,
love
because
it.
I have not played anything else on this list except for Breath of Fire. But the only reason I played Breath of Fire was because with the Nintendo ambassadorship program, I don't know if you guys did that for your DS.
Oh,
One
of
of the
course.
games that you got was Breath of Fire.
Yep.
So that's the only reason why I played that game. But those I don't even know what Sengoku Basara is. What is
I don't
that?
either.
No
It's like
idea.
Dynasty Warriors, but with the different cast of characters and more Konami flair, Capcom flair to it.
What is the No Paruma one? I don't know what that is.
Nobody knows.
See, that's the funny thing is they brought up a bunch of things, and I literally was like, I don't know what half of this is, but
So, yeah, that one they're just trying to see where the fans lie. Do we have any more fans left of Tararu no Paruma or not? Like,
well,
fans left?
also,
Because this is open to the whole world and it's
Yeah.
all being happening at once.
well, I hope
So-
that all of the Ace Attorney fans on Twitter and Tumblr, because that's where they all live, voted for
Well, yeah,
the Ace Attorney.
Reddit squads like
Yeah.
basically Avengers Assemble for all your favorite titles. You better start voting for it. So
Right.
Yeah.
because some of those, like, because they already have sequels and such, like we were all pointing out, like they're ignoring, or that ended on a good spot, so don't bring it back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
But
thought
you
it
could
was-
always make something
We
up for an
probably
Ace
don't need
Attorney
a Devil
game.
May
I'm
Cry
just
6
saying.
or Moana 2, but we're gonna probably get them. So anyway,
It'd be great if they made a Nintendo exclusive version of the Ace Attorney games and all the court cases were copyright ones.
Or they did legal stuff with Nintendo characters.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Like,
they're going
like
for,
a no. Like you know how there was an Aces Phoenix Wright and Layton game?
Mhm.
What if they did a
Oh, I have it.
crossover but with Mario people?
Oh god, who would be the Nintendo lawyer? Waluigi? No.
No.
He seems like a lead.
No, let me tell you.
Kirby.
Kirby, but also, and hear me out, Daisy.
because Kirby's the real life lawyer, so
Yeah.
they have to make Kirby.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, no, that is a solid response. Damn,
But-
Steve, that's a good one.
But Daisy though, because she's a certified hard ass. What people don't realize is like, oh, who's the how Mario has Wario and Luigi is Waluigi. Pretty sure Daisy was supposed to be that. So
Yeah, that comic was hilarious.
yeah.
Yeah, there's
So-
a whole thing about that. There was supposed to be a Wa Peach, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's
part
a nice
two of this question was, which Capcom game do you want to see completely remade with the latest technology, including character design and story direction? The choices were Onimusha 1 through 3, Ace Attorney 1 through 3, Commando, Rival Schools, Nijirocho no Kiseki?
Kiseki.
I'm bad with this.
Hidden Gem.
Final Fight, Breath of Fire 1 through 3, Gargoyle's Quest 1 and 2, Mega Man 1 through 3, oddly specific, or not listed. Steven, which ones did you start off with?
So I will be remiss if I don't point out that, remember, it's saying character design and story direction.
Mm-hmm.
So that means however you liked them, how they looked, it would change because it's completely remade, which is why I won't have the same answer as Rachel, because I like the original designs. But for me, the two I picked, I picked Final Fight because I think we're in the beat 'em up scene, especially with Night Slashers coming back from Neo Geo.
Mhm.
I don't know if I could come back. And then, come on, Capcom, maybe this will get you to kind of bring us the other collections of 3D fighters, but give me Rival Schools, especially as some people pointed out, if you add a Persona element to the story mode and you just make it rivaling schools and all kinds of such. So those were my two big ones there.
Okay. Chris, what about you?
Well, seeing what they did with Mega Man 11, I'd love to see Mega Man 1 through 3 done in that style with new art, music, and story direction.
Mhm.
And I'd have to go with Rival Schools as well, if only because it's just been such a long time, and there are so many great fighters that have just been thrown over to the wayside. Star Gladiator, which was supposed to be Star Wars in the same vein as Darkstalkers and Universal Monsters.
Yep.
Techromancer. We never hear anything about Techromancer. It's gone. There's just so many wonderful fighting games. So yes, those are mine.
Okay. Rachel, what is your answer and why is it Ace Attorney probably?
It's not actually, because I love Ace Attorney the way it is, and I don't feel that it should be remade.
That's why I pointed out the character design could change. So I was like,
That is
the only thing I want out of Capcom when it comes to Ace Attorney series is I want them to port Miles Edgeworth Investigations 2 in English.
The market's there, people.
The market's
get
there.
Capcom on the phone.
Like literally, and I put that at the very end of this like poll thing that they did, they had an option for, and I wrote them. I literally was like, listen, you've already done the rest. Like, what's stopping you from doing a Miles Edgeworth one with 2 games on it? Nothing. It'll sell.
All in caps. Get it done.
Like, I'm like, there's nothing stopping you. You've done it with the rest of them. There's no reason you can't do this. No reason at all. And I'm like, people on the internet have ported it themselves with an English translation. There is no reason that you can't at all.
Hacker's going to do what hacker's going to do.
Exactly. So, I I didn't. My answer for this would probably be Breath of Fire 1 through 3 because I mean they're RPGs, so I always love me some new RPGs.
You do like
So
your RPGs.
so that would be my answer because I've played the first one or two of these games, so I don't see a reason why. Like, I think it would be kind of cool for them to be remade in HD, like modernized, new character design.
Remade and rebirthed.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna say because
like
they were what Super Nintendo, then they got brought back on Game Boy Advance. So yeah, this would be a nice step up from
I
that.
mean, I'm pretty sure Breath of Fire 4 or whatever was on PS2.
PS1 and
PS
5 was on
yeah.
PS2.
Okay. See, there we go.
Makes sense. Yeah.
It
I
still
was
comes on
close.
mobile, but nobody talks about 6.
Yeah, we don't know. We don't talk about that. But like it's duh. Like it is what it is. Like they
We have a
could
soundbite for that.
yeah. It's duh. Like
Dude,
I'm
guy.
yeah. I'm just, this I'm glad that this like, question was clarified with some detail stuff because my like answer would have been Ace Attorney. But like I like it the way it is. It's fine. We don't need anything else. Like it's a visual novel type game. Like if they did like actual puzzly stuff with exploration, that would be cool.
Mm-hmm.
That would be like a, kind of Digimon cyber sleuth Nancy Drew
Paradise
type
Killer.
Paradise Killer type. Like I could see them doing that kind of thing with Ace Attorney in the future, but they might already have that down the line if sequel wise, not remaster.
Right.
But I don't know. That was my answer. There we go. Send
Okay.
tweet.
Oh man. So for mine, even taking into account we're talking about with the remake of the latest technology for character design and so forth, or modernization, I look at the quality of the work they've done with modernizing the Street Fighter series in 6. I like a lot of the designs and how they handled that. So I think they're really good at doing that. So that's why I'm sticking with Rival Schools, because I agree that game does need to be updated and brought back in because it was such a good fighting game. I still play it on my Dreamcast. So yeah, that would be my pick for this one.
You didn't click not listed and put 1943?
Fair enough. I technically kind of did get that. They released it as an Xbox Live Arcade game where it was like pseudo 3D and was really nice. And yes, I have that too. I'm a sucker for that series. I think it's because I played it as a kid in the arcade and I just fell in love with it.
I was just like 1943, 1944, 1945, 19XX, 1945, the Strikers, 1944, the Strikers, 1943, the Xbox Live Arcade game. I was like, how many more does he want?
So many more. And I have most of the ones you've said. In one way or an emulator or something. So
yeah.
Oh
so
man.
Yeah, guys. I know the other surveys are weird market research, but Capcom listens to these more than Nintendo listens to their Smash roster. And they eventually did listen to it because they said other than another person, Sora was the top pick. So that poll meant something. So that shows you that these things make a difference. So don't just vote in real life, vote for video games too.
And that's part of why, like, some of you guys thought my answers were weird, but answer truthfully. It's the stuff you want to see. So I will defend 1942. I think this has been a fun discussion. I'm glad I was kind of worried how the show would go. I was like, we're all adults. We can talk about good things and bad things. Like we can do this. Thankfully, we're right. We did. And we've come out of this laughing, and we're not burning like the internet is for Xbox right now, which is great. So we'll go ahead and wrap up. And we used to let everybody know where you can find us on the internet, but now you can look below the video in the comments. We have look down below. You're going to see all of our contact information there. If you're listening to this, you can find all of that in the notes for the episode. If you want to talk to us directly, you can go to over at Twitter, or X as Steven likes to call it, at Zenspath Podcast, where you could find out about the show when we're putting up episodes, putting up shorts that we try and make. If you have questions you want to ask us directly as a group, you can find us there. If you're listening to this show and you'd like to be able to watch the video version, you can find us over at youtube.com/ZenspathCom. If you can leave us a thumbs up, subscribe, share it with some people, leave comments. These things help us out and get the algorithmic gods to allow us to spread and talk to more people. If you're watching this and you'd like to be able to carry us around in your ear, you can find us pretty much anywhere you can get podcasts. Just look for the Zenspath Entertainment Network Podcast and we'll be there. You can go directly over to zenspath.libsyn, libsyn.com. For the audio ones, if you can leave us a good 5-star review, type something up about it, that helps us out as well. If we can start getting more reviews and comments and stuff, I will add a section to the show where we'll start bringing up our favorite comments or favorite reviews to bring up on the show and talk about. So we can go from there. But yep, beyond that, episode 117 of the Zenspath Entertainment Network Podcast. And we're out.
Release Vib Ribbon on Xbox, Sony.
Just remaster it, gosh darn it.
Release it anywhere. I just love it. But make it compatible with 8 tracks, just because I'm stubborn.